One of the reasons why I like this book is I'm originally from from Clifton. A lot of these books, a lot of these poems have to do with this surrounding area, and it's real familiar to me. So hopefully it's familiar to some of you too. This one is called Outside the Mainway Market. Just a little backstory. Mainway was was a food store on Valley Road in Clifton. It was called the Mainway Market. It's a quick check now. Bob Inc. is another name that is known as. So outside the Mainway Market, every day, our mother says, kids die on those goddamn things. And she nods at the lone yellow horse with the red vinyl bridle and 4 black shining hooves like police hat brims. Not only do we stop our 5-part begging, we walk wide around the beast, though Mary brushes the coin box with her sleeve. Rigid in flight, the great horse's legs flange out toward us. Not one of us argues. We hold on to our mother's coat, cross several streets, touch the dog we always touch when we walk home, fingering his freckled snout. Then we scream and run in the yard while supper cooks, and the sky shudders pale for some seconds before it darkens, as if in that lavender moment, 3 blocks away, a child drops the reins and gasps as his shoes fly off, and plumes of smoke rise from the crown of his hand-knit hat. That's Catherine Doty. Okay, these are my poems. Some of you may have heard some of them before, some of you may have not. This is, speaking of the surrounding area, I lived in San Francisco for about 13 years during the 90s through 2005, and I was really, really surprised and appalled to see what they did to Garrett Mountain. And this is my reaction to this. It's called Mauled. The Disney dream is a lie. Bambi has been rewritten. No longer is it the danger of flames and firearms. It's crossing a four-lane highway and being trapped against a median. A warm blood flower streaked by the wipers of a Humvee. The roads are littered with animal parts scattered like pummeled puzzle pieces. Turkey vultures claim their day, an overkill of death, their feathers defying the cars zipping by. Displaced crows pepper the sky above Walmart, soaring around the naked tree branches or feeding off discarded fast food French fries. Their guttural caws, thick with resignation, trumpet the air. Woodland creatures claim a piece of their space that has been replaced with snow-specked cement, whitewashed fences, and air-pumped Christmas decorations big as the SUV Sentry standing guard. We have raped the land, stolen the forest, and rebuilt it with doors and bay windows. We have given the mountains a mastectomy. Condos and spoiled children sprout up like mushrooms. Fungus much too wild, too rich, and much too toxic to the touch. The past is hunting me, blooms in my old room like a snail. It leaves cum smears on the mattress, feasts on fallen lint from my navel, redecorates and makes use of every stained corner. It follows me to work like a ratted dog, plops itself at my desk and answers the phone, laps at the earpiece and gobbles the wax I left behind. Digests slow, allowing for time to become familiar. Its presence here makes me uneasy. The gilded horses in my stomach prance up and down, an e-ticket ride, as the slideshow in my head introduces the next freak. The music they play here is frightening. These are two childhood poems. The first one's called Logophobia, which is the fear of words. Words can be callous as children, playing with a play on words. Langdon into Langchang because of an assumed slant to my eyes. The angels at St. Philip's School stamping me the boy with the bugle in his pocket, after my anxious attempt at read aloud when bulge became its dyslexic cousin. The same saints 7 years later sees a new slander after Ms. Anders asks if I'm spastic because of my restless feet. My words are a therapy for battling the bullies, ready to swoop when the words work out wrong. A blueprint for a biting poem, and a way for me to let go. This one I know, this is one of my favorite poems. It's called Venison. I didn't hunt that weekend. I stayed home with the girls and rolled cookie dough. My father came back with a deer blasted from the woods and tied to the roof of his Chevelle like a Christmas tree. The neighborhood men rushed over to gauge the size of his kill. Most of their homes have something dead hanging on the walls. They carried the deer on their shoulders in victory and hung it by the rear hooves from the backyard elm. They circled, arms crossed in judgment. What a beaut, they said. What a rack, they said, caressing the antlers and petting the pelt as if it were alive and obedient at the foot of their armchair. They slit the animal from throat to crotch, blood emptied with a rush, intestines unwound to the ground. He plunged his arm deep into the animal, pulled out the liver still warm and full of bile. We can eat that. The other guts can be used as fertilizer. They took turns pulling off the skin, stripped from the animal like contact paper, and carved the meat into chunks. After the deer had been packaged and frozen, and the organs decomposed in the garden, I once again protested, I am not eating that deer, as brown meat and onions were spooned onto my plate. It's steak, he grumbled, grabbing himself a heaping helping. Over dessert, he announced with a sly smirk, you just ate deer. I left the table and vomited in the garden. Next year's tomatoes will be nourished by bile and shame. They'll have a deep blush. They'll be irresistible to pluck and gulp down like a man. And this is my last one. It's called My Father's Naked Body. I first saw my father naked during the last days of his life, his heart and kidneys failing like the mind of a feeble boy. The thin hospital gown exposed a bony back with skin that appeared to be melting down his body. I helped him sit on the bedpan, lifted the gown. His limp, uncut penis, like a withered lily, hung between two ghostly legs. His enlarged scrotum, two cracked-over baked chestnuts, clung to his thighs. He was mortified by the sickly stench that slipped from his old bowels. I wiped and assured him, like a father to son, that these unexpected moments happen in life. Thanks.